They're the liberal rednecks. They like cornbread and butt sex. They care way too much but don't give a fuck. They're the liberal rednecks that makes some people upset, but they got 3 big old dicks that you can suck.
We wanted to dedicate this show to a guy who's either a buddy or a friend, depending on how well each of us respectively know him, to all of us, and an amazing member of the comedy community. Kenny DeForest passed away this week, and Kenny is a guy that I've known forever, but I've become close with in the last, honestly, 3 or 4 months. We filmed a set together for OnlyFans, and we started talking about doing a Drive-By Trucker podcast. I introduced him to Patterson at a show once, and you know, it made his night. And anyway, Kenny is a guy who genuinely made everyone feel at ease.
Yep.
And feel better.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Kenny's great. I mean, I think I knew Kenny less than both you and Cho both did, but I've hung out with him multiple times. He was always super rad. The last time I saw, no, not the last time, but the thing I think of when I think of Kenny was me and Cho went to a comic's birthday party in LA, and I wore a t-shirt that was Garth Brooks at the Ryman, right? And I was sort of like expecting to catch a little bit of shit for that or something like that. And Kenny came up and he was like, "Were you at that show? That's fucking incredible. Was that great?" Whatever. I was like, "Yeah, it was," because he was just like, he was just that guy. You know what I mean? He was just a good dude. And I hung out with him multiple times, and he was always a good dude. And just, I don't know. He was just one of those people that hit for everybody. Basically.
Yeah, and being at that party as I was, seeing Kenny was wild to me because I met Kenny back in the we all suck shit days at the Comedy Catch. Him and my buddy Joe Kilgallen, who you know Joe opened for you in Chicago.
Yep.
They were like riding around in a fucking car together, and this is like 16 years ago. Like, you know, Kenny and Joe were like two of the dudes I've known the longest that are like still doing it. There's plenty of dudes that ain't doing shit, but like they're still doing it. And like when we went to that party, I kept up with Kenny on Twitter, on all that stuff. And then I saw him at the party, and I was like, holy shit, like we meet again. You know, this is crazy how small of a world comedy is. And then when he dies, my Instagram and my Twitter is just nothing but Kenny DeForest from every comedian I've ever met, comedians that I don't know that I just follow, and it just like really burned into me that there's only like 100 of us. You know, like it feels that way, like it's a small fucking world, and that everybody knew him, and yeah, he was awesome, and it fucking sucks dicks.
Rest in peace, Kenny.
Rest in peace, Kenny.
Love you, buddy.
You guys remember Bebe's Kids?
We don't die, we multiply, dude. I was just thinking about Bebe's Kids. Why'd you ask about Bebe's Kids? I was just thinking about them, dude.
I don't know. Did you say something and it got in my brain?
Motherfucking Bebe's.
No, Bebe's Kids, we don't die, we
multiply. We twisted steel and sex appeal, baby.
Dude, Bebe's Kids was a huge part of my childhood.
Me
frankly.
too. Bebe's Kids at Martin was how I learned about black people.
That's funny.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's funny, but it's like, I think if you don't know black people, Bebe's Kids, I mean, it might be a little racist.
No.
Are we on? Are we recording?
Yeah, we are. We're recording.
You don't think it, I'm not saying it is. I'm saying like,
well, that's what's weird.
It's a cartoon, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what's weird about, like, I don't know how to put it, black culture, like.
Tell us what's weird about it.
Hey, what's weird? No, what I mean is what's weird about our relationship to it.
Yes.
Meaning, like.
Yeah, we grew up in the rural white America.
I grew up. Yeah, right. I'm a fucking trailer American from rural Tennessee, and I have such a connection to Bebe's Kids.
Yep.
Right, and like.
But
sometimes I used to have a bit about how like it was the same type of thing or whatever, but like poor white people and poor black people, but like I get that it's weird though. You know what I mean?
You feel like you're laughing at the wrong time.
No, well,
right,
here's what it is.
It's like no, this hits for me because I relate to it and I understand it.
Right, but here's what it is. I think
but
it's
it
like
feels like laughing at.
Should we be quoting it? I think is the thing.
No, we can quote it. They, as far as I know, black people made it. But I think what it is
They did.
too is like
Comic.
when you start talking about white TV shows and the culture they created, you've got everything from Frasier to the Beverly Hillbillies to the Jersey Shore. In other words, there is a vast swath of white America being represented.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were little, there were like 2 shows on about black people,
Martin.
and if you were a dumb 8-year-old, from a white, you would be like, and that's how all black people are. I
Right.
guess they're just like babies.
And then you had Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which was like, it was for black people, but it was black people in a white environment, and that was the show. You know what I'm
You think
saying?
that was for black people or for white people?
Well, that's actually what I'm saying is like, was that like a white people's entree into we'll watch these black people because they're in Beverly Hills?
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing a while, Sanford and Son.
So Eminem had a line in one of his songs. It was like, he was like, if I was black, I would have sold half. I didn't have to go to Lincoln High School to know that. And so he's saying like, if I was a black guy, I wouldn't be the phenomenon that I am.
Right.
Sure.
It's just like, that's true.
Of course it's true.
Right, but
He would have still hit.
he would have still hit, obviously, still, but like his self-awareness with that at that point in time was pretty crazy. But
How long do you think it took him to get that way? Do you think he had to be told that a lot?
No,
No.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe by Dre or whatever. I mean, that's from what song is that from? Fucking that's from a song. That's from an Eminem song that we all know.
Is it
Yeah,
White
no, I know.
America?
White America.
The reason I think Eminem's known that a while is Eminem was going to rap shows as a young man and seeing that there were very few white people in the audience, and then seeing the white people in his own audience made him realize I've crossed over. I'm one of the
Well,
best
and
people
he
here."
had that whole thing about basically being our generation's Elvis, which
Yep.
was true.
Yep.
100%
He's
true.
like Elvis.
Took black people's music and made it hit to white people.
He
Right?
says
And he was like, and I'm doing
the
that
first
too.
thing since Elvis Presley to do black music,
So
So selfishly,
so selfishly.
and use it
First
to
of
make
all,
myself
wealthy.
wealthy. Hey,
Yeah,
here's a
right.
concept
that works. 20 million other white men immersed
But no matter how many fish
in the sea, there ain't ever going to be another quite like me.
No, it'll feel so empty.
That's not right, but you made a hit though.
It'll
Whatever.
feel so empty without me. It'll feel so empty without Tushar.
If I say Tushar,
Oh, yeah.
everybody, Tushar, check them out.
We were talking about white people and forgot our.
Yeah,
Brown friend
I'm
was
kind of
here.
surprised you didn't chime in on the.
Well,
white
we
people's-
need to have
I
to
forgot
share
he
a
doesn't
mic.
have he doesn't have a microphone.
I didn't have a mic. Thanks for having me, fellas. I do have a thought. At some point when we were talking, you guys were talking.
We will let
about
you have a
this.
mic. I don't know
Oh,
about
can
letting
I
you
go
have a
ahead?
thought.
Can I go ahead and jump under the bus real quick? The reason that it looks like shit is my fault because I didn't prepare. I thought that I could wake up this morning and pack all my shit and come to Zanies, but we haven't been together to do a podcast in a while, and I forgot what I needed, and I'm an idiot,
If
and that's
you're
my fault.
Watching on the internet, it definitely looks like a porno that is not amateur, but they tried to make it look amateur.
Yeah,
But I say-
it looks like there would be a bunch of white, like I don't know. Never mind. I was going to say something I don't want to.
Since Tushar got
A bunch of black dudes standing behind a white woman.
Yeah, it looks like
That's
the
a famous
opposite of what
porn
it would be. Yeah, like Tushar would be the only white person, whereas it's a bunch of white guys surrounding a brown guy. It would be
Right.
the opposite if it was the casting couch thing. Perry Piper, I
I'm
believe, is
high.
her
I don't
name.
know what Trey's doing.
He's moving the thing closer.
Dude, I thought he had found a secret place. I thought he was pulling that rug back and he was going to be
Yeah.
like, here's the treasure.
And by the way, here's a 4K camera that we just dug up. I love it.
I had a thought when you guys were talking about that, about how diverse black people are within America.
Oh yeah.
No one, like, black people from Atlanta are so different from, any corner of the country.
Yeah.
For sure.
And the diversity, I don't know if it's like,
But they get 2 shows.
so which
Right.
black guys do you like the most?
Outcast.
Well, Atlanta, so Outcast,
Atlanta's
yeah,
number one,
for sure,
right?
yeah, for
Easily?
sure. Well, yeah, because they're the closest
My
ones to
favorite
us.
black guy is Marshawn Lynch.
Right,
That's
so
the Bay
Oakland,
Area.
yeah.
Ain't that the Bay Area?
the Bay
But I
Area.
mean, yeah, I'm always going to say Southern blacks hit the hardest, but that's because I'm from the South, and so, like, why wouldn't I? Southern black people, that sounded really bad.
Southern blacks, yeah.
Yeah.
When we call them the blacks, I don't hear for them, but it is what it is. I like.
That could be a football statement. Southern blacks hit the hardest.
Yeah, exactly.
We were
yeah.
talking earlier. I was telling Drew earlier about how me and you earlier, Cho, were looking up the history of pig meat. Markham,
Well,
Who?
No.
Who is that?
Do you know who Pigmeat Markham is, Tushar? So
We thought.
Pigmeat Markham was a vaudeville era black comic who was very popular in his day. But when I was trying to explain him to Cho, I was like, you know, Pork Chop Jenkins, right? And he was like, Pork Chop Jenkins?
by the way, I immediately knew what he was trying to tell me, if that makes sense.
So we looked at him as Pigmeat Markham. Anyway, what we found out was Pigmeat Markham was very popular in his day, and he had a whole bit about being a judge, right? He was like, "Here come the judge," right?
Oh, I remember that. Here come the judge.
Here come the
Here
judge.
come
He
the
had a,
judge.
It's
he had-
probably been
he had
sampled
a
in rap
song.
songs,
He
I
had a-
guarantee
He
it.
had a song called "Here Come the Judge."
I remember that
right?
song.
Well, so that was Pigmeat Markham, right? But so
I thought that was Flip Wilson. Go
he
ahead.
had his thing going on in like the early '60s.
Yeah.
And then they being us, the whites, stole and adjusted.
They us.
Stole and adjusted his.
That's every white person's pronouns. They
Us. That's British pronoun. They us.
Hey, thank
Keep
you.
y'all from England. They us. Yeah. You thought they were them. They us.
So they stole and adjusted Pigmeat Markham's judge bit. And made it for white people and put it on Hee Haw early on in Hee Haw.
That
It became a big
sucks.
thing. Right, but he did get some shine for it.
He
By
did.
the way, it was.
We were also
They
talking
didn't
about
hide the
how.
fact that it came from him.
But
so
we
he
were-
got in
Oh, it was
there
like a
little
cover
bit.
But as shitty as that was, we were talking about the fact that like at that time in comedy, like he was doing vaudeville, he was doing the Chitlin circuit or whatever. Black, white, whatever. Stealing shit was not the same thing as it
Well,
is
if
now.
they told everybody he did it, it kind of
Right.
just feels like you went on SNL and you did a cover song.
Because Sammy Davis
Well, so
Jr.
actually-
did
actually,
it.
I'm about to say, actually,
He did it first.
That's who I remembered. I
Okay.
thought it was Flip Wilson. It was Sammy
Sammy
Davis.
Davis Jr.
So what really happened is Sammy Davis Jr. did Pigmeat Markham's judge bit on the Ed Sullivan show. No, he did on Laugh-In.
Laughing,
That's fucked
Sammy
up.
Sammy
which
Davis,
got him a residency.
Sammy Davis Jr. did Pigmeat Markham's bit on Laugh-In and it hit real hard.
That's
and then
fucked up.
and then later the whites
Black on black crime.
the whites repurposed it for Hee Haw, right?
They stole from
But-
Sammy Davis Jr.
But
He did a lot of laughing jokes.
But
Yep.
that shit, it did end up hitting for Pigmeat Markham. Like he
got credit somehow.
he got
And
credit.
by the way-
they brought him back on later to do some of the follow-on sketches in that character
Yeah.
because he was the guy that came up with it, and Sammy Davis Jr. Didn't have the time.
And by the
to
way,
come and do it. So
before we
so it
blame,
kind of hit for him in a way, but it is
before we blame Hee Haw the institution and Roy Clark and Buck Owens or whatever, it is possible that like they hired a writer from Laugh-In and that dude just was like, do this, and the people at Hee Haw didn't. Does that make sense?
Dude, it happens at SNL.
Yeah, for
all
sure,
the
for sure.
time.
So I guess what I'm saying
writers
is
go
like,
to the Comedy Cellar and just steal
Right.
bits and turn them into
but
sketches.
in my mind at first when I was like Hee Haw stole Pigmeat Markham's bit, I was like, oh, Roy Clark, Buck Owens, you assholes. But then I was like, no, it wasn't them. It was they hired a writer and he did it.
Dude, the past rules, and sometimes like the stories about it for many reasons. Past don't rule. Past hit sucks,
So,
but the stories are good. And
I
one of them
know-
is Buck and Pigmeat are two major characters in this.
Yeah,
fucking-
Buck and Pigmeat.
So I know that literally none of y'all care, and also no one in the listening or viewing audience cares. But the Las Vegas Raiders just got a pick six, which made the score 63-7.
What?
They are beating the Los Angeles Chargers 63-7.
Y'all are gonna have the biggest beat of the year. Wait, what was that Dolphins
Bro,
one?
that's gonna be the biggest. Well, actually,
70
no,
to
you're
10, I
right,
think?
you're right. No,
The Dolphins was pretty big time.
It was just like 70-10.
It was
You're
50,
almost
it was
there.
50 points. It was they beat them by 50. I think it was like
Well, y'all could easily get 60 or 70. I mean, it's the third quarter, isn't it?
God damn, bruh.
The Raiders can't call off the dogs because you'd have to have dogs first. Like y'all are doing this, and
Yeah, all
while
your
you
starters
suck.
are third stringers.
That happened at the very beginning of the fourth quarter. There's 14 minutes, 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Anyway, wild as hell. Too sharp.
Too sharp, baby.
What do you think about us stealing hits from black people?
Well, you stole the black people themselves, so it
Yeah,
makes
that's
sense
true.
to
That's
steal
true.
their ideas.
I would like it known on the record that Tushar said that.
That's a good
Well,
point.
Borrowed them.
I guess
That's true. Why would we stop there? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what Tushar's saying is somebody works for you, you do own their ideas.
Right. It's called IP. Like intellectual property is related to people property. This is all the same. This is property.
all right, let's stop.
Let's get this.
Stop with the property.
I told you earlier, Tushar, that like people out there in this universe been waiting on you to turn back up. I've been getting a lot of like messages and stuff. People being like, "Where's the goddamn Indian Outlaw at? Where's Tushar at? We need."
When's he
Tushar
gonna
in
show
here."
his dick?
Yeah,
It's
and
true.
so now you're here.
Show
I'm
your
here.
dick.
I have an announcement.
Uh-oh.
I fell in love
Oh, shit.
with a white woman,
Okay.
We knew it was happening.
and I just
Are you gonna give up your outlaw ways now?
no. I think I'm gonna go double outlaw.
Double
Have you ever
outlaw.
heard the
down.
song Outlaw Women?
No.
That'll be
Is
that's
that-
a new one.
Is that Islamic?
No, it's I believe it
So-
is Waylon Jennings, and it's about the outlaw women that keep the country boys in check or whatnot.
Does this recent development not hit for your Indian mama, who is
Well,
an
my
angel?
mom,
who we all
my
love?
angel mom, just basically wants me to. I mean, this
Marry a
point,
woman and have some kids and get your
having
goddamn
a
shit
kid,
together.
keep
Yeah,
my
right.
shit together. It
And
doesn't
she's
matter
okay with
to
that
her.
being a white girl?
That sounds like a country song. So, I mean, marry some kids, get your shit. Marry a woman, have some kids, get your shit together.
It was really nice because I told my sister and my mom about her, and I was like, she's white, and all right, and, so, and mind you, I haven't really told I don't tell my mom and my family about who I'm dating often. I'm gonna say like,
but why?
Are you breaking it here?
I don't because
Because
like,
it don't hit for her?
no, because I just don't know.
Then you have to have a conversation. How's your girlfriend?
I have to go. I have
Yeah.
an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
So I've never liked someone.
Then you have to bring a white girl to Alabama. That don't hit.
That's.
Sand to the beach.
And so I told my sister, and I was like, but you know, I'm red, but she's white. I was like, she's white, she's not Indian. And my sister was like, me and mom have not cared about that forever. Like, we don't care. She's like, as long as you're happy and she's good, that's more in your head.
It's so funny to hear this conversation happening in other households that aren't white.
Yeah.
Like, I guess for so long I've been like, we're the only ones that don't.
Well, we've talked before about how like fucking a lot of other cultures on
Chinese
Earth be
that way.
very, very, very racist.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not saying
dude,
I'm
Jewish
racist.
people do
I'm
that
not saying
shit.
y'all are racist.
We are racist.
I'm just
Like,
I know you
dude,
are,
so
but-
many of so many jokes in Seinfeld was Jerry being like, "Oh, she's not a Jew, so I don't want to tell my mom about her," you know, or
But
shit
no,
like
there's
that.
a lot of them. They're super, super racist, but no one cares.
Yeah.
But if it comes up in America, people get. And I'm not saying that justifies us being racist or that we should be racist.
No, of course not.
But it is. But it is true.
It is true.
It is true.
Dude, you've
Like,
often said that, like, man, if you really think about it,
I think we're
America's the least
I think
racist.
we are the
And
least
I'm
racist
convinced that
country
you're
on
right,
Earth,
but
right?
that really is wild as fuck.
I think America has the most amount of racism, so it's like the highest.
No,
Okay, but
no,
why,
it has
though?
the most different
No,
kinds of
yeah,
racism.
it's the
Like, I
melting
used to do a
pot,
bit when
right.
I first moved to New York about when I got up there, and I was talking about, like, because everybody was like, "Oh, you're from the South, you must be racist or whatever," and I was like, I've heard so much racism since I've come to New York, but it's that there's so many races to be racist against that it's all spread super thin, whereas in the South, we're like ear, nose, and throat doctors. We focus on just like 2 or 3 of them, so our racism is like more heightened because we've got more material because we've only experienced these certain kind. Whereas in New York, you've got to learn so many slurs.
You're saying this is a stage time thing.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. In the South, like we've only got a couple to be racist against, so we've really got it perfected. Whereas in New York, it's just spread out.
Harrison Tweed used to have this joke about growing up in North Carolina. People would try to be anti-Semitic, but they didn't really know how. And so he's like, I was at a birthday party once,
Right.
and like my friend's friend, he didn't even know I was Jewish, but these kids were hanging out, and he goes, "Look at those kids over." There's a bar mitzvah at a pool party, and he was like, "Look at those kids over there being all Jewy." And he was like, I looked over, and they were just like playing in the water.
Right.
eating hot dogs, and he's like, to be fair, they were all beef, but like still, like what is he talking? It's like you just don't have any
You don't
relationship
have
to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
So really, the exercise should be to take someone, like bring these people down by groups, and then develop racism in the South.
Like a farm system.
Like a farm system.
Like the AAA of racism.
Right.
Tushar, the way your brain works is not good.
No, it's, dude, you are so lucky that you're brown, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
We are so lucky that he's
yeah,
brown.
oh, that's fair.
Like, dude, you're like, if you were a white guy, you would be the next Donald Trump.
No, I don't work hard.
So Tushar, I want your input on this thing.
Yeah, because you're not a white guy. Hey!
We've talked about this a lot, and it's related to what just happened just now. Like, I get so pissed when I hear people from like Vermont or somewhere in Idaho or something talk about how racist the South is or that type of thing, because I'm always like, well, you don't fucking... What do you know anything about racism? You're from a place that's 99% white, right?
Mm-hmm,
but like, but the way that can come across is it can feel like you're saying
You don't have to deal with
you
them.
don't have to deal with them, right? Exactly. How would you be racist against them? You ain't never got to be in traffic with them or whatever.
It's the same as like Swedish countries being like, how could they? But it's
Shitting
like, yo,
on America for being
yeah, fuck
racist,
you.
forever. But it's like,
Sweden.
but
Turns out
in a
Sweden has
country-
gotten immigrants, they've gotten very racist.
But to be in a country where
Upgrade.
in a country where it is genuinely diverse and we have all these different ethnicities and stuff and we have to deal with it all, sometimes that shit don't hit, but we are doing it.
Right.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we're
And
doing the
like-
work.
Right, and I just wonder what you think about that.
I mean,
whole
I
thing,
think
'cause
it-
a lot of these countries and places within this country and stuff, it's just nothing but white people, and it's easy to be like, "Oh, we're not racist, and I'm not racist."
I mean, what's
because
crazy about
there's
this-
nothing but white people.
What's
around.
crazy about this country is there's not much religious kind of like, there's not many temple bombings. There's not like religious activism on that front, you know?
yeah, our people don't really believe it. They just like the parts in the Bible where they get to hate the gay.
That's, yeah, and I
Control
know.
women.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah,
give
yeah,
a shit
yeah.
about anything else.
But I'm saying like other countries, like I'm just saying from like in India, for example.
This bit has been done to death since, but when I first started out and I was like trying to be super edgy or whatever, I had a bit that was like, I can't even remember how it all went, but it was something like, I think that Christians hate Muslims because they're jealous of how much better they are at their religion than them, because say what you will about Muslims, but like they believe that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
My favorite bit about that is from Lavelle Crawford.
yeah,
Which he was like,
yeah.
He was like, Jesus wants you to run up in here and blow yourself up. And
I don't know Jesus like that.
I don't know Jesus like that.
Right. That's what I meant by it's been done
Which
to
is
death
true.
since.
Yeah.
But that was my whole point, was like, I would, like, all my Christian friends, like, they would be like, I believe in Jesus, whatever. And I'm like, until the slightest inconvenience comes and you don't want to be Christian that day. I was like, whereas the Muslims, by God, they do that shit. Like, they do it.
What were you going to say, Tushar?
I was just saying, this country, as diverse and crazy as it is, it might be like, this is racist, this, that, but like,
This
the
country-
violence against racism is more like, it's not racist, it's like classist, which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. Great for us.
Well, you know, people,
I'm with you.
this country constantly gets called the Great Experiment, and like that is a way better word to use than country. Almost, is like, yeah, this experiment that we're living in. and
We've
like,
done experiment.
You said it was more classist. My personal experience with that whole thing is like, when I was a kid and up till I was like, I don't know, probably 23, 24 or whatever, I was one of those guys that was like, no, it ain't about race. It's only about money. That's all it is. Like if you cause I grew up poor, and she was like, if you're poor, nobody gives a fuck about you.
Right.
It doesn't
That whole
matter.
white privilege
It
thing,
doesn't-
like you don't want to hear
It
it.
doesn't matter. And I used to be real.
I know.
I used to have a real chip on my shoulder about
Yeah.
like white privilege and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, that's fucking horse shit. Like I'm white and I don't think I've had
Right.
any kind of fucking privilege. Like my life has been hard, you know. But at a certain point, I realized that like you can, if you're white and you look like me, you can graduate to a point where then you do hit, right?
Yeah,
Even if you came from nothing,
well, dude,
right? Which I did, but like you get to a certain point, and then you are a white guy
and you're there,
who's out there hitting,
right?
And that's not,
dude.
That's not true for everybody, right? I remember talking to Drew about it because Drew was a public defender, and I remember like early on in our relationship when we first met, I asked him, I was like, dude, you're a public defender, like. It's all about money, right? I was like, these cops and the courts and stuff, they fuck all of us over, right? Like a poor white trash redneck meth head dipshit is gonna get fucked over just as bad as a 16-year-old black kid from the hood.
He won't get picked up as much.
And Drew told me, he was like, no, not really. He was like, it's still like,
if you catch the dipshit meth head, they're going down, but they're not looking for him as hard.
He was like, poor white kids, they get fucked over too, but not in the same way or at the same level that poor black kids get fucked
Well, dude,
over.
even me who grew up like not at all struggling or whatever, like I remember, I don't know when it was, but the first time I heard white privilege, like of course now I'm hearing it from the Fox News crowd, which is just like, they act like just being white, you know, you get a check for $200,000 and we got all this blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, whatever. And then somebody finally came out and explained it in plain English that was like, white privilege doesn't mean that you haven't struggled. It just means that your skin color don't have shit to do with it. And I was like, well, everyone should agree with that.
Smart Mark said it best, of course. He said one time, maybe to me, but I thought to all of us, if we'd have called it a black tax instead of a white privilege, every white person in America would have been like, yeah, no, I get that.
Right.
Yeah, there's a tax for it.
Yeah, and I've actually, I would say I've been working on a bit. I thought of a thing a year ago and haven't done anything except put it in my phone about how like liberals constantly, I think we've all talked about this, like so much of our messaging gets fucked over in the phrases that we use, and we should have chose different things. And like, I'll go to my number one example is like defund the police, right? Because everybody goes defund the police, and then all the people on the right go, oh, so the police don't get no money and we just ain't gonna have cops. And then the liberals go, no, it doesn't mean that. It just means allocating the money for, you know, these things or whatever. How could you think that that meant taking all the money away from the police? It's like, because you said defund the police. Don't get me wrong, I know there's plenty of people who genuinely want all of the money to be out of the cops, but like, so many liberals say defund the police, and then when my dad goes, so the police should get no money, I go, why the fuck would you think that? Like, so much of our messaging is stupid. Like abortion, that's way too metal of a word.
Kill your yard is something going on in the environmental movement, and
right.
It's, in my opinion, such a dumb way to phrase what you're asking people to do.
There you go.
We're real bad about that.
What you're asking people to do
saying.
is let your yard go to a more natural state than the fake grass we put in, and grow some food in it. If you would say instead of saying
that,
kill your yard,
say
fuck the man by growing your own food. Everybody would be like, oh
yeah, exactly. Or like, well, you know, if they had called it climate change from the beginning instead of global warming, because that's another one that, like, the dude in the Congress with the snowball is like, it ain't warm, you know, we've still got snow. It's like, it's climate change, motherfucker. So all these, like, getting bogged down in semantics and shit.
But they'd be doing that no matter what we call it.
Well, and also a lot of these probably get made up by them. Like, they're like, let's call it global warming, and then when it's cold, we can do this.
Yeah. Maybe doing that.
But like, so much of all of it is semantics. You know what I'm saying?
I'm anti-semantic.
Much like, I mean, don't get me wrong.
Well, Cho had a bit about that on the skews this week.
Oh, I did. I can't remember it.
Well, just about being, you're like,
I'm anti-semantics. Yeah. And it was about the Jews. But like, so that, and like, now granted, when I hear Black Lives Matter, especially because it's not like they just randomly said it. They said it in the wake of a black person being shot by the cop.
I think that one was good.
I agree. No, I agree.
That was good phrasing.
I agree. But what I'm saying is, it's still, we get bogged down in semantics because.
Well, then after that, it leads to defund the police.
Right, but like, but the people on the other side go, oh, so white lives don't matter? They're stupid. But all of these problems are so fucking semantic, and like, the best example of somebody goes, no, hold on just a second. When we say Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean white lives don't matter. It means, this is the best explanation I ever heard, was like, if this house was on fire and we called the fire department and said, we need to put that fire out, would you go, what about my house? Does it not matter? It's like, well, yours isn't on fire. And I was like, God damn it. Why can't they hear you right after it?
What do you think, Tushar?
Well, I'd like to change subjects.
Me too.
New fathers on the podcast.
Yeah,
New fathers.
well, before we talk about the new fathers, I was actually about to ask you, Tushar. You got your white woman lined up, right?
Oh, yeah, that's why we were even talking about this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, my bad. I made it wrong.
I just want to know how that's going.
We went from.
Can we talk about that?
We went from like, hey guys, I have an announcement. I'm in love with a white woman. To defund the police.
Yeah, we were like, well, here's what you should tell her. Yeah.
Tushar got a white one. Bring the cops back.
You're working from the inside now.
How's that going?
It's great. I was friends with her for like 6 years.
Is she a Trump supporter?
She's not.
Oh.
She's
Where was she January 6th?
fairly hard left.
Right.
I think she was in Mexico City actually.
But how's that for your mama? How does she feel about that?
She don't care. She's good.
Okay.
I don't think she. I'm,
Well, she gave up on you.
42.
I was about to say,
years
once she
She's
was
old.
like she's like anybody.
As long as this guy's not.
What is the
gay.
year?
Right.
What's the year in India where it's like, by the time, if you're 35, they're like, well, we're not arranging
I
shit.
thought for a
30.
second you thought they had a different calendar like China.
No.
Maybe they do.
I just-
Year of the
year of India, right?
No, I just meant like, you know,
17 trillion.
Yeah, right.
like over here, if and I know this personally, when a white dude turns 30, people go, is he gay? You know, like in India, what year is it that they go, I don't think we can arrange a marriage. He's past his prime.
I think with men it's different because
Well, yeah.
it's great. Because it's great.
Yeah, right.
Go dogs. Go dogs. Go dogs.
Yeah.
No, but with women, there's an expiry date just because of the biological.
What's the date?
26?
17.
Pretty much like 32, 33.
Oh, it's in the 30s now? Oh, y'all are doing
I
all
would say
right.
that. Yeah.
That's progress, baby.
Yeah, that is progress. Because, like, in American South, like, don't get me wrong, like, we have plenty of 30-year-old single girls, but, like, people be talking. Like, people be
So-
talking.
People are talking.
To switch this
Talking
into
about people.
a field of conversation that could turn, you know, real quick. Like you're with it. We were just talking about the biological clock. Oh, past this point they can't do it, and you're like, as long as you get in under that, you're fine. So I imagine your mama wants some grandbabies and stuff, and you're just now getting in this. But why don't she has grandbabies? You got nieces and nephews, right?
Nephews, yeah.
Nephews.
Oh, dude,
So-
she's so proud then.
I know.
So-
did it.
But like that's what she wants. Like the goal ultimately is not just to find.
You must
somebody
breed.
or whatever. You have to breed. And these two motherfuckers have both bred this year.
Have you told your mom that me and Drew
Where
have
are you
kids?
at on all that, Tushar? How do you feel about that? Are you like, fuck that, I'm not doing that?
Not a long time ago. This is probably 2 years ago. I was in like the phase of let's make a baby because I can figure it out. Income wise, I can figure it out.
And if I decide last minute I don't want to,
Abortion.
Yeah, that's right. That's my Fonzie.
Abe's gone to India.
Or B plan.
Or see you later, I'm going to India.
Right, have that little white motherfucker here.
And I was like, this is an important thing. I want to experience it, yada yada. And then just recently,
Did you just yada fatherhood?
yada fatherhood. And I just recently was like, I don't know if I want, like, if I have the energy, the capacity. Do I want? The world's kind of fucked. Yada. It's fucked up. And mostly, do I want to unhinge my lifestyle, which is like,
Yeah.
I'm in New York.
That's the only
I'm
part you
having
need
a
to
good
worry
time.
about.
That's
The whole world thing,
That's fine.
it's always been bad to have a
It's
kid.
being bad.
So, like, I don't think anybody needs to worry
It was
about
bad
that.
when your parents had kids.
It will be bad. Like, dude, there was people in the 1800s going, do I really want to bring a kid into this world?
a fair point.
People were getting eaten by wolves. So,
There's
the
the plague
only
going
one,
on.
in my
People
opinion,
still fucking during the plague.
yeah.
I don't think they knew how kids were made in the 1800s.
Yeah, they just showed up.
Every time you get married, something happens and kids pop out.
God damn it. Yeah, I gotta stop raping.
Yeah.
This, every time I do.
Yeah, it's weird. When I fuck the cow, nothing happens.
Yeah,
So it can't be fucking.
Yeah, but my point is, like, the only thing anyone should ever be worried is, like, do I want my lifestyle to get fucked up? Because all the other shit, it's just like, well, that's just life.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I'm at the point.
I think you were going to make a point and we steamrolled you. So what?
No. My point was I switched on it recently just because I was like, I don't think I want that necessarily because I like my life in New York. And then this girl, like I've met her, and there's an element.
He wants to have one.
There's an element. No, I don't want to have kids because you fuckers got kids.
You do. You don't want to be left out of the chat.
Do you think that's what I don't want to be left out of?
100%. You're the only one in the chat that doesn't have kids. You want to have kids.
I think it's fine. I'm fine.
Yeah, Mark don't have kids.
You're fine with the idea?
I'm fine with the idea of not having kids.
Are you fine with the idea of having kids?
You said not, so you're fine.
I'm fine with the idea of not having kids.
You're fine with the idea?
Yeah.
Are you fine with the idea of having kids?
I would. My default is having kids. My default has always been having kids.
Because you're Indian.
Because I'm Indian and I'd be good at it. I'd be a good daddy.
You would.
You would
be
rule.
Great. I would rule as a dad. I'd be
tall.
Good. Yeah.
Climb on you forever.
But
does she want kids?
I think she would if there was a lot of wealth involved.
She's white. That's why she got
hold
with
on.
him.
What does that mean?
Meaning like we couldn't. And this is like we're not moving to the suburbs.
Right, you want to live in the city still.
I wouldn't want to live in the suburbs.
Yeah, well, as soon as you had a kid, you wouldn't want to live in the city, probably.
Exactly.
Out here.
As the Chinese say, exactly.
Is that what you're going to name your kid?
Ed Zachary. Ed Zachary Singh.
But yeah, and since I don't live in the suburbs, she doesn't live in the suburbs, we have a kid, that means we have to stay in the city. And also, it's not cheap.
Well, I mean, there are people that have kids in the city.
I know,
it can be done.
But to be fair,
mostly rich people.
Anytime,
right.
okay, but anytime
to do it properly, you got to.
Anytime, I don't think I ever went. No, I didn't. The first time I ever went to New York, I had kids already, and the first time I went, my kids were babies, toddlers, whatever, and I've been there multiple times since. And I'll be on the train. I'll be on the 7 or whatever, going out to Queens or coming into Manhattan or whatnot. Whatever, and I'll see people. I'll see like a mom with a stroller on the train
nightmare.
at rush hour or whatever, like doing, and every time I'm like, Jesus Christ, I don't know how the fuck, but I know comics from New York or like New York comics or like from the area or whatever who have kids that I've talked to, and I'm like, it's just so much easier to have kids in LA, and they're like, what? I feel the exact opposite.
Well, they grew up in it.
I feel right, but I feel the exact opposite. Everything's closer. It's easier to get to.
Well, a kid grows up in New York is fucked.
Well, I
don't know why you think that.
Everyone who I know who's grown up in LA is a little off.
You just said LA.
Sorry, New York. Sorry,
Wait for calling out people for being dipshits.
Yeah, they definitely get experience.
Have you met?
Young. They start they can get if they want and do drugs at 13, but they're also all world wise.
Have you met?
Don't need people at 20.
Have you met babies from Mississippi?
They don't have it. Babies from Mississippi don't have it famously. Everybody knows it.
Well, I'm just saying,
well played, sir. Yeah, you're right.
All I'm saying is, all the dudes, all the comics that I met, in New York who were, from New York, when it came to doing comedy, there was a huge culture shock in the South of, holy shit, my 20-minute subway bit doesn't work. But, they could handle living there. You know what I mean? I feel like when you live in New York, it does, even though everybody's everybody in New York's super liberal or whatever, I feel like it does toughen you up, getting on the subway all the time, living amongst all those people, and I don't know. I feel like living in the country after that, it's I'm fucking relaxing.
I think there's in the city, there's a certain loss of innocence that a kid goes through.
100%.
Yeah,
too early.
There's some positives of that,
because
which is good too.
They see people dying of a heroin overdose, and it's like lunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can see that in the South too, but not on the corner because we don't have corners.
So the idea of having a kid right now is not on the table for me.
Good for you.
But that being said, daddies in the room.
There's three
daddies.
Three.
And you're sitting in the middle.
So
of
what
it.
do you say? What do you say to someone like me? Because it's like the experience of being a daddy is the best in the world.
It is.
Well, it is, but also like.
Do you see where I'm coming from?
Yes,
do I look
of
like
course.
I
never will be that guy that's
saying,
like, do it.
Me, I agree, and I'm sure this is true for all of us. I met, like, especially as somebody who's in comedy, is doing comedy and stuff. Like, my major caveat is it all, and this is like not a thing you should ever have to say, but it's true. It all comes down to like who you're having kids with,
of course.
And like, and so like for me, like like for me, like I used to.
We all had it with the loves of our lives.
I mean, they remember like early on when I started stand up and stuff, because I had a kid when I was 18 months into doing stand up. I had a baby. Right, I only didn't have a kid for the first year of doing stand up, and I've been doing stand up for 13 years. Right, and so I was a baby comic, and I had an actual baby. And so many comics and shit would tell me all the time, they would be like, dude, you know, I think if you didn't have a kid or if you didn't have a family, you'd have a real shot at this thing, right, or whatever. And that
I stand by saying that.
That always bothered me. That always bothered me. But I'd be like, no. But I was like, no. I mean, I still have a shot at it. It's going to be all right. And I've proven that to be true. But that's only true because Katie, my baby mama / wife, probably should have done those in reverse order. That's only true because she was on board with it. And I think, to me, that's what it all comes down to. Like if you're gonna have kids and do this, you have to have somebody who's fully on board with what you're doing. And if they're not, then it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
but if they are, so
me and Amber have been together for 7 years before we had a kid.
The partner is like the number one thing to me.
For sure,
like
dude.
If they're on board, they get what they're getting into, and they're down with it. Then it's. You got nothing to worry about, and it's the greatest thing in the world.
Right, like.
And I'm only talking about for people who are comics or whatever.
Yeah, like if me and Amber,
not, then
if I had just started my stand-up career when me and Amber got together, then like maybe she'd be like, "So you're gonna give this up, right?" But like I was deep in, and like me and her have been together for 7 years, so like when we had a kid, it was like. Well, I mean, luckily, like, I was the main breadwinner, so it's like, yeah, well, we'll just make this work, like you're doing comedy or whatever. But like, dude, if I just randomly got a woman pregnant while I was on the road,
yeah, it would ruin everything.
It would ruin everything because I would then have to move to that city. Like I would do that. I would have to do that. Like
or
oh, dude, I would propose that first.
That's fine.
Oh, kick her and everything.
That solves everything.
I'm kidding, but like, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, no, if I, got someone pregnant in Poughkeepsie and they were just like, we're keeping it, I'd be like, yeah, my career would be fucked. But Amber is like, I don't hit, I'll stay here.
What do you think, Drew?
I was just thinking about like an abortion that ate too many breadsticks. Hey, abortion. What do I think about which part?
Just all that.
Abortion in general.
Yeah, pro. I think that Tushar should have kids if he wants them, and he shouldn't if he doesn't. And I don't think there's ever been, because like, and I say this because I'm talking to past me. I really, really, really spent a lot of time torturing myself thinking about whether I wanted to do it. I spent a lot of time trying to imagine this or trying to imagine that. But at the end of the day, and like thinking about global warming, thinking about money, thinking about what if, the tour goes away and then I have to go be an attorney because the kid has to eat and I was miserable being an attorney. It's fine for me to be poor, but I can't make a kid be poor. I'm just really going through my head, right? And then I realized, like, there's only one question really to ask yourself if you live in a place like America. Obviously, if it's like a war-torn country, the stakes are different. But for me, it was like, do I want them or do I not? And then, yes, I think the only follow-up question is, who do I do it with if the answer is yes? Does this person make sense?
That's perfect.
And like Metallica said, nothing else matters.
All I will tell you is this.
Mic drop.
I can't tell you to have a kid or to not have a kid. But I will tell you this. If you fuck around...
You'll find out.
If you will find out. If you fuck around and have a kid with a woman who you love and you both respect each other, there will never be a moment that you go, I really miss our life before this kid.
Yep.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say. Like, that's all I'll say. It really
just gets better.
But you can
It's
see
like
go,
being
but,
gay.
like,
It
but
gets better.
we swing, we go out there, we do all this shit. And you go, that'll all be taken away.
You got swinging?
I can't. No, I'm a swinging guy. Like, I just go
I'm a
out.
swinging guy.
I didn't mean like swinging.
yeah, see?
We're swinging, baby.
This would have been worse than when I found out Corey had a dwarf friend. I was like, how'd you keep this from me?
That was the 1920s version of swinging. Like, I was swinging, but if you have a kid, once that baby comes out, and you see it and you get to know it, and you did it with a woman who it makes sense for you to do it with, there will, at least for me, so far, there hasn't been one moment where I was like, man, it sure would be nice if the fucking kid wasn't here. I've actually gone, for me, and this is crazy because, like, I'm the fucking show. I'm the guy that goes out and gets drunk under underpasses, you know? I've been like,
Look at me.
For 9 months, I've been going, what the fuck was I doing before this? Like, what the fuck was I doing? Why did I think anything mattered? You know?
I know that probably that all sounds maybe like bullshit to you.
It's not.
The type of shit or whatever. But
it.
like I mean, I told you earlier off mic when we were hanging out at Zanies. I've told you, like, I'm as somebody who has kids that are 11 and 12. These two motherfuckers having babies this year has made me want to have another baby because it's reminded me of how awesome it was to have a baby, and my kids they're past that, they're so far beyond that, and I can't ever get that time back, and I want to have another baby. I'm not going to, but I want to have another baby.
Oh.
So I'm saying, like, I would not be feeling or thinking that way if it wasn't awesome.
I need to real quick channel ID. You're listening to the WellRED podcast here on All Things Comedy. Well, I need to apologize to a few members in the comment section on YouTube who has said over the past couple of weeks, if this is going to turn into the three dudes talking about being dads podcast, I'm fucking out. We are sorry, but also you can leave. That's fine. I apologize.
I mean, the last episode was all about birding.
Well, here's the thing. No, I know, but like
Thank you, Joe Zimmerman.
Well, here's what pissed me off about, because there were several of those comments, and I hadn't
Really? You got
yeah,
a bunch of those?
several, and like it blew my mind because like normally our fans are like super big fans of us being queer. But there were several of those comments, and like the only reason that I even saw them is because I got a new phone and I didn't turn notifications off, and it was popping up on my shit. But anyways, like they were like, "This isn't what this podcast has been," and I was sitting there thinking about that, and I was like, "This podcast has always been us three talking about our lives." And now me and Drew's lives have changed, and we're still doing that. So, like,
Well, for sure, but
I don't think we're doing anything
this is the
disingenuous.
first episode where we've really
No, when I first had Bane, I got real gushy and all that shit. Like, we did do it, but like that makes sense. Like, I had a baby, and this is a podcast about our fucking lives.
Is this one of those things where one person said?
No. It was, trust me, if it was one, I wouldn't give a shit. It was like several, and all those comments had a lot of likes, and I was like, what? Because I thought it was gonna be that situation. I was like, this fucking pit. And that comment had like 30 likes, and I was like, wait, y'all really don't like us talking about our kids?
So, Tushar, are you about to have a white baby?
I don't remember their names.
What, baby?
White baby?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Look, I'm more interested in. I mean, just you two have.
Well, it'll be caramel
babies.
color, I believe.
I think it'll be great. It'll be a beautiful mixed baby.
Do it if you want to. Don't do it if you don't want to. All I'm saying is that you will not regret it, so long as you're with someone who will help you raise that fucking child.
Hell yeah.
Where are we at, Joe?
Well, it starts over after an hour, so I think we're at an hour 7.
Okay. Well, so we can wrap it up if y'all want to.
Which is what I think you should do for now, Tushar.
Yeah, that's right.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Pull it out.
How long have y'all been dating?
No, like a week.
Seven.
Oh yeah,
weeks, 6
she shouldn't
weeks.
even listen to this.
She shouldn't listen to this.
Yeah, no, don't tell her you did a podcast with us.
I will. She won't listen to it probably.
Then she's definitely wife material.
Yeah.
She hates
Okay, never mind.
They still haven't read our book.
Get her pregnant tomorrow.
Yeah, that's great.
All right.
Thank you for making white people.
Plug your shit.
Come to Zanies this weekend.
Well, this is Come to Zanies next year. How about that? With some long after that.
I'll be doing a run at a theater in February. The date is to be confirmed, but
what location? Just a theater?
it's going to be the Ars Nova. Probably the second weekend of February.
In what city?
It's in New York.
Okay.
I'm making a one-man kind of a show run about my relationship with corporate America.
I love that.
It's going to be, I'm still figuring it out, but it's going to do a run.
Watch show.
But that's it.
Trey?
Check me out. Come see me on the road, TreyCrowder.com. Got 2024 dates up, so holler at them.
Come see me at the Comedy Store the last Thursday of every month. And I don't know when this is coming out, but I don't have dates for a while because I'm going to hang out with my child.
That's right.
But if you're in LA, it is, and I'm not just saying this, the funniest show at the Comedy Store. Many people say that.
And as for me, this is Corey. Go to bonuscorey.com. That is my Substack where I write essays, I do audio dramas, all that good stuff. $5 a month for the version where you get things early and whatnot and some extra things. But you can also just subscribe for free so we can all keep up with each other. There's a chat feature in there where I don't comment back on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff anymore because it's just too much and there's a lot of butthole people there, but I always get back to everybody on the Substack, and it's a wonderful little community that we've built. bonuscorey.com, and I'd love to have you. Also, grab our book, Round Here and Over Yonder. That's a good thing. It's a good book. And anyways, once again, rest in peace, Kenny DeForest. Also, sorry about the audio quality on this episode. It's very punk rock because, well, we were in Nashville. Those of you who have been following this program for quite a while knows that our December Nashville episode, it just kind of is always this way. Love y'all. We'll see you in the new year. Or actually, you know what? That's not true. We'll see you still in this year. I'm an idiot. All right, I got to go. I barely have a voice. Love y'all. Bye.